Happy Monday, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. It has been already a fantastic Monday. Gotten so much done, and I'm really excited about the next couple of weeks. Got some big things going on. So I just wanted to welcome you to today's Marketing Monday live stream. And I've got a couple of announcements for you before we get started. But I wanted to say that today's Marketing Monday is actually by request. Somebody asked me, hey, do you have a live stream, podcast, blog post about direct messaging? And I was like, I think so. And I've addressed it obliquely or in tandem with other topics, but I realized I didn't have a live stream or a post directly related to direct messaging. So I was like, oh, this is so cool. So to that end, if you have any ideas of things that you'd love for me to talk about, but I haven't yet, do drop them in the comments or send me a DM with the idea, because it could just be that I overlooked it. So just something for y'all this morning. I've got some people here joining me live. I've got Krissa. I have Facebook user. I have some ideas about who that might be. And Steve is here. Good morning, everybody. Oh, Chris is in a mood. Okay, she's ready. She must have gotten some DMs. So before we get into that, just real quick reminder, it's Monday, so we've got a new podcast episode out. It's a Marketing Monday about radical authenticity, live stream from a few weeks ago about why some of us need it and some of us don't. So if you didn't catch that live, now's your opportunity to catch it as a podcast, which can be a little bit easier to consume as you're going about your day to day. Made the announcement, but I am doing a second why workshop. It will be on May the 4th. Yes, May the 4th be with you. And hopefully you will be with me for this upcoming why workshop. So I'm actually putting together the landing page for that right now. I've got some fantastic testimonials to work with this time. So if you are interested in participating in that why workshop, there will only be 10 seats for that. So again, send me a DM, drop a comment. I'll make sure to get the link out to you later today once the landing page is live. Very excited about that. Wednesday, speaking for the Networking in Annapolis group. It's a virtual group. We used to meet in person before COVID, but it's a virtual group now. And I'm going to be giving a short presentation, about 20 minutes, on infusing your brand with radical authenticity. Whew, okay, so those are the things. Let me check out. Oh, good morning, Dominique. Man, I have a crew with me today. Yes, love it. Yes, request lives are open. Please let me know if you've got topics that you want me to talk about, to look at from a radically authentic perspective, to get my take on. More than happy to share that with you. So now we are going to get into it. So my plan, because Krista gave me some guidance here on this, my plan is to go straight through with my topics, but do drop me your comments, because we repurpose the live streams, right, and put them on the podcast. And Krista is my amazing podcast consultant. So what's going to happen is I'm going to get started here. I'm going to run all the way through what I plan on sharing with you all. And then I'm going to go back and answer questions. So that way it's a bit easier in terms of editing. So when we repurpose this and make it more consumable for people who weren't able to join us live. Okay, so go ahead and drop your questions, your comments. I am here for it. And it's still very exciting to me to watch the comments pop up. So just your support is always fantastic. And we are getting ready to rock and roll. So we are talking about, so real quick, I'm sure you know me by now, but this is RUTHIE. I'm the radically authentic brand strategist and founder of Defy the Status Quo. I'm the brand strategist who focuses on authentic expression and emotionally intelligent and magnetic marketing. Yes, I had to say that slow. And so that is me. And I am just really excited to talk about this topic, because people pay a ton of money to learn how to do this, and then they flood our DMs with spammy messaging, right? Like, I want you to think back, like, did any of you guys, anybody who's listening, think about it. When was the last time you got a spammy message? For me, it was this morning. Not really much I can do about that. So we're going to talk about this, though, this progress, how we get to the spammy messaging, the spammy direct messaging. So what usually happens is you interact in a group, you go on someone's page and interact, and then they send you a friend request, and then they slide into your DMs. And what do? They do the equivalent of asking you to strip. All right. So I want you to imagine it's not your DMs. Imagine you met this person at a networking event for when we actually get to do that. Imagine you met this person at a networking event and you're like, cool, this is neat. This is neat. And then the next day, they show up at your house and you're like confused. You're like, what? And they're like, hey, how are you doing? And you're like, I'm good. And they're like, can I come in? And you're like, let's ignore the fact that they're, they could be like a serial killer. And you're still confused. And you're like, okay, come in. And then they're like, great, strip. And you're like, excuse me? And they're like, I want to see it. Let's see the goods. Let's see it. I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Like you would punch them in the face and drag them out of your house and call the police, right? But in the DMs, they're like, hey Steve, hey Krissa, hey Dominique, hey Ruthie, how are you doing? Thanks for connecting with me. And they're like, and then you go, oh yeah, sure. Always open to a connection. That's great. And they're like, oh, that's great. So what's your biggest business struggle right now? Oh, great. What's your biggest relationship struggle right now? Oh, great. What's your biggest parenting struggle, design struggle, funnel struggle? What is it? Tell me. Right? And you're like, whoa, I don't know you. Like, why are you asking me these questions? And so then I typically say something like, oh yeah, I'm not really having any right now. Things are going along really well. And they're like, oh, okay. Yeah. So, how many clients are you working with right now? Oh, well, if you're interested in being, this is how I like to respond to them. If you're interested in being a client, I definitely have space. And they're like, oh, well, I just wanted to give you some feedback. Stranger danger. I don't need your feedback. I didn't ask for your feedback. I didn't opt in for this. Opt out, unsubscribe, except there's no button for that. And then I just block them after, but me, I like to string the conversation along a bit because it makes for good TikToks. But essentially, this is what happens. They basically ask you to strip for them and give you personal information and details, right? Not to steal your identity, but to Spartan kick you into their funnel. I actually made a meme about that. That was really funny. I'll have to share that in the Facebook group. Okay. But here's what I want to share with you is what happens when I direct message. And many of you who are watching right now are people I've never met in person that I may have encountered in a Facebook group or on Clubhouse or something like that. And if I've direct messaged you, you know what this feels like. But the first thing I do before I even accept a friend request, because most people send me requests these days, but I do send friend requests like on Instagram and, I'm connecting with people. I check out their profile and look at their content. I check out their profile and I look at their content because from a genuine and authentic perspective, I'm going to be honest, I don't want trash in my hallway. I don't want trash in my feed. I don't want trash in my hallway. I don't want trash on Instagram and I don't want it on LinkedIn. So I'm checking out your content because I want to see if you're going to add to my social media experience or if you are going to add trash to my social media experience. And I do that because the people who are putting forth effort in their content tend to vibe with me. So if you are let's be honest, if you are putting out shitty content, you will probably not vibe with me. So that's my first check. Vibe check, right? That's what I like to say. So intention checking, is this someone I vibe with? Do I like their content? Do I like where they're coming from? If I like them, it's possible I have a better chance of them liking me. And there are plenty of people who like me whom I don't like. For example, the person who showed up in my DMs being incredibly inappropriate, making sexual types of comments and then asking me out for dinner. They obviously liked me. I did not like them, so they got blocked, all right? But if I like them, then that's usually a good place to start. That's me checking in with my intentions. It's me checking in with my intuition, because if I like them, and it turns out that they do need an authentic brand strategist to help them create an amazing brand that builds community. If I like them and they need that, then I would probably enjoy working with them. It's an incredibly intimate process. And my genuine business coaches, consultants, the personal, like any of the consultants and coaches here who operate from a genuine perspective, y'all know what I'm talking about. If you don't like them, could you imagine going through that intimate process with them? No. So, intention checking. Do I vibe with them? If the answer is yes, then I typically reach out. Why bother reaching out, though, if I'm not just trying to shove leads into my funnel? Because I'm about relationship generation, not lead generation. I am looking for an opportunity to be an opportunity. I am asking myself, I'm not asking, how many leads did I create today? how many relationships did I start today? How many relationships did I nurture today? So my live streams are an example of me nurturing relationships. The people who typically watch my live streams are people I communicate with on a regular basis. And this is my way of giving them valuable content that's significant on a topic that they care about. So that's me nurturing the relationship. Creating relationships typically involves me checking out their content, checking out their profile, commenting, engaging, and then I may slide into the DMs. But creating those new relationships is typically how I focus on things. And people will come to me with questions. Like right now, like I'm talking about the Why workshop. I've already got some people that I'm talking to about it because I announced it in the Facebook group yesterday. And then I announced it on my personal profile today. I've already got people who want to talk about it. So I'm creating the new relationships, and then I let my content speak for itself. And they're like, wait, Ruthie, what about the people who aren't going to speak up? What about the people who need you to reach out to them? What about them? Are you missing out on them? And this is the thing here. And I actually said this to Steve. Steve was watching. I don't know if Steve's still watching, but Steve was watching. And Steve asked a question in a Facebook group. He said, mindset or strategy? And I said, mindset, but if they had the presence of mind enough to hire him, then they could also then work on the strategy. And that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I don't need you to do this by yourself, but I need you to at least have the presence of mind to raise your hand. If you need me to pin you down and chase you down and then shove it in your face, then we're not a good fit. I need you to have enough courage and enough self-belief to at least raise your hand and say, hey, Ruthie, I think this is something we need to talk about. And so that is how I feel about that. When people are like, oh, what about those people who would say yes if you reached out to them? Like if they're interacting with my content and I've messaged them and we're going back and forth, then they're going to raise their hand if it's a good choice for them right now. I'm not chasing you down. So after working on the relationship, I may have an ask for them, but I don't force it. So people who I'm going back and forth with, I may say, hey, do you know anybody who's a good fit for my Why workshop? Here's the landing page link. I'd love it if you shared it with them. If anybody comes up that would be a good fit for them. And anybody I've interacted with, they kind of have an idea of what I'm looking for. And the thing is though, law of reciprocity with these people, anybody I ask to share my workshop, because I am not copy pasting that to a whole bunch of people. Like I'm not asking tons of people to share my workshop. Anybody who I asked to do that, I would do it for them. So Dominique was watching. Dominique's like, hey, Ruthie, I'm doing a workshop. Could you share this with people? Yes, let me sit here and think about it. Who can I share it with? If I can't think of anybody specifically, boom, it's going on the social media feed. Like I'm resharing it and putting it out there. Steve asked me, Joe asked me, David asked me. Like if you guys were to ask me, Ruthie, can you share this? Yes, because I am not going to ask you to share something of mine that I am also not willing to share for you. When you want something, need my support. So that's the other thing. Consider your law of reciprocity. Are you copying and pasting and asking people for things when you would not do the same for them because you judge them not to be like up to your level? Then don't be asking those people to share stuff for you. Like don't force it. It's unnatural. All right. And I always get the questions like, Ruthie, that doesn't sound very scalable. Like, what about the numbers? And I got something for that. Hold on. It doesn't have to work forever. It just needs to work right now. Because if it works for me right now and it works for you right now and you grow and then you're like, hey, this isn't working anymore, I need to do something different, then just have the self-awareness or the business awareness enough to know that it is now time to do something different. Now, this way of direct messaging, can I tell you, oh yeah, Ruthie reaches out to 30 people every day? Nope, can't tell you that I do that. Oh yeah, Ruthie's gonna book, 3 sales calls today. Can I tell you that I do that? Nope, sure can't. But you know what I can do? I can market and I can have these conversations without needing to go take a shower. All right. So the growth that I'm experiencing is from that authentic place that lines up with who I am as a person and the type of change that I'm hoping to see in the consulting and coaching space. I'm hoping to see a renewed sense of integrity. And to that end, that is the type of brand building that I'm looking to do. So the type of person who's like, yeah, let's copy paste and send this message to 50 people. That's not the type of person that I want to help create an emotionally intelligent brand so they can then later manipulate these people into purchasing their program. That would be irresponsible on my part. So just keep in mind, it does not have to work forever. It just needs to work right now. And so that is what I have for you today on radically authentic direct messaging. Keep in mind, so let's see, it'll be May the 4th for the Why workshop. And yes, the cohort for the Build a Supernova brand is still happening. That's starting on May the 10th. But I'm encouraging people who are thinking like, wow, maybe I need a supernova brand. I encourage you to go through the Why workshop. Why? Because that's your opportunity to see what I'm like in action. Honestly, buy, like, it's like a test. It's like you go to Walmart or Sam's Club and they give you little, samples. Yeah, it's a taster, right? It's a test sample. So I encourage you to check out the Why workshop. It's only going to have 10 seats. I'd like to keep it intimate, and it was amazing last time. Landing page will be up later today. Let me know if you need the link for that. So again, thank you so much for joining me today. And now I'm going to go look at the comments. I just wanted to make sure that that was easy for Krista to cut off later. So let's go look at the comments. Thank you. Woo, woo. All right. Yes, that workshop was on Friday and it was amazing. Yes, Dominique. So look, somebody who now lives in the same state that I live in, they found me on Instagram and was like, "Do I know you?" And I'm like, "No, I don't think so." And they're like, and I'm like, "I just have one of those faces." They're like, no, I'm pretty sure I know you. And I'm like, "I'm pretty sure you don't." And I just have one of those faces. I was like, "Did you serve in the army?" Because that's where it would be. And they were like, "No." I was like, and they were like, I was like, "Well, I'm not from Maryland. So you didn't meet me in Maryland, I bet." And then it turns out that they were somebody I dated very briefly in high school. Very briefly in high school. And then they asked me to dinner twice. And I was like, "Hey, I'm married. Like, I don't normally have my family on Instagram. So I just want to make sure that that's up front." And then they said some very inappropriate things, which I will not share here on Facebook, but I will more than happily send you the screenshots because you knew I screenshotted that before I blocked this person on Facebook and Instagram. But yeah, and then we're like, and I said, "You're being really crass right now." And they had something to say about my attitude. And I was like, no. And then they said, "So are we going to dinner or not?" And I was like, "Block." And you make of that what you will. Let's see. All right. So Steve said, "So true. If they don't already know your struggle, they have no business pitching you." And that's the problem, is that they are coming at you trying to extract the struggle. But like, it's kind of like when you're having a conversation with somebody and they just proceed along, like they are listening to respond instead of listening to understand. Right? Listening to empathize. So they're just waiting for you to admit to some type of struggle. And then they already have a canned response that was probably designed. If it's a good response, like a good spammy response, it was probably designed on the principles of neurolinguistic programming and manipulative emotional intelligence techniques. If it's a bad response, then they're just like punching you in the face instead of, nicely stabbing you in the stomach instead. Krista says, "I rock today." Thank you. I'm feeling that energy. I feel so much better than last week. And then Chuck says, "Spammers are stranger danger." I'm like, yeah, like, who are you? And look at all these exclamation points. Like, nobody, like, really, you're this excited to reach out to me and you don't know me? Like, really? And you didn't like or comment or do anything on any of my posts. And I know this because I check my notifications when these types of people reach out. Like, but you're this excited? You're a stranger. Get out of here. Get out of here. Okay. And then reading this out loud, but something that they don't realize is that they're breaking any type of potential working relationship when they immediately go into a spam style message. "I'm only connecting, with you to further myself." Shiny object syndrome right after connecting. That is exactly right, because now I understand. I'm completely aware that you view me as a number, and that's it. You view me as being connected to me, what that can do for you. Which means I know that I don't actually matter to you. So you have completely overlooked my deep human need to belong, right? You've completely overlooked all of the hard work that I've done to build myself up, because when I do block you and I make that TikTok video, you're already on to the next, and you're not even paying enough attention to be aware that you just kind of demonstrated horrible emotional intelligence. You just kind of demonstrated being a meh human being, at least in this moment. And I will say, in terms of my TikToks, people have asked me, how come you don't just put their names out there? I don't put their names out there because I consider them to have, them making a mistake. right? They weren't acting very human in that moment, but that doesn't mean that they aren't actually humans. And I consider that they may learn and progress later and then maybe even be embarrassed about how they were reaching out to people before. So I like to use my DMs as a way to teach lessons, but I don't necessarily want that person's name to be forever attached to it unless they are actually a horrible human being. But you know, yep, Steve, I do not want trash in my hallway. Like, that's true. So Clubhouse, the feed is called the hallway. So I don't want trash in my hallway. I don't want trash in my feed. And that's what you get a lot here. Boop, boop, boop. Hope you guys just didn't hear my stomach growl, but it did. Yes, Krissa. She said it was very helpful getting rid of leads and focus on relationships instead. And that was a post that got a ton of engagement and comments. I think it was last week. But imagine how different it is when you position it, when you look at this person from that mindset. How can I create a relationship with this person? Don't make this in, how can I create a relationship with this person so they can pay me? Nope. How can I create a relationship with this person? How can I be an opportunity for this person? So for me, I'm asking, like, is this person a good fit for my podcast? Maybe. Is this person a good fit for other people's podcasts that I know? Maybe. Would this person be a great fit? Maybe they need to attend an event that I'm attending and I should extend them an invitation. How can I be an opportunity? So I'm looking for an opportunity to be an opportunity to other people, right? Oh, they show up in my DMs and they ask me a question. I've got content around that. Let me send it to you. So now, again, I'm being an opportunity at that point. I'm giving them an opportunity to at least learn from my perspective. Yes, Dominique was at the workshop. Some of what she said about it is actually going on the landing page. Thank you so much for that, Dominique. Yes, and Steve is here. See, so that was a really good example. So with Steve, like if Steve was like, Ruthie, I'm doing a workshop. Do you know anybody? I would definitely recommend y'all to Steve 100%. He's somebody I've been connected with on Facebook for a long time, and he is incredibly consistent in his expression of his values and his principles, and he is somebody that I would recommend. Dominique said this in a live stream. Nature loves courage. She said this in a live stream not too long ago. And you know what? Courage, the prerequisite to courage is fear. I said this on Clubhouse this morning, and it was something I used to say to my soldiers. In order to do something courageous, in order to act courageously, you must first feel fear. And the way that we judge other people's courageous acts is by judging something we would be fearful of. So if you are leaning into your fear, then that means you are creating opportunities for you to step outside of your comfort zone and do something courageous. Woo, woo, she said. Bring on the authenticity. Thank you, Steve. Steve's authentic too, though. Steve said that I am authentic. Dominique said, send me the receipt. And I am glad that somebody else resonated. They vibed with the I don't want trash in my hallway. I mean, and that's the thing. It's trash comes in more than one type of way. So they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So I'm sure somebody will DM me later and say, it's not nice to call other people's content trash. But this is what I mean. And so really, it's just, what is the value of it to you? So when I say trash, when I say repel the wrong people, and they're like, oh, it's not nice to say that people are the wrong people. Like, what I mean is that they are the wrong people for you. They may be the right people for someone else. Some people are acting out of a space of emotional manipulation and, horrible intent, and they may not even realize it. But in terms of the trash in my hallway, the trash in my feed, repelling the wrong people, that really just refers to this is not content that I need to see. Is some of that content bad? Yes. Some of it actually is trash, but not all of it. So if for example, on Clubhouse, this is really important because the people you follow, their rooms populate in your feed and that's what you see. So I tend not to follow people who talk a lot about parenting. I got 4 kids. I have my own parents. I've got my parent network. I'm not on Clubhouse to talk about parenting. So I don't follow those people on Clubhouse. Right? Now, are those bad rooms? No, but they would be cluttering up my feed. They would be cluttering up my hallway. I don't want to be on Clubhouse to talk about parenting, right? So that's just kind of an example of a topic that's still important to me. Would I read books on parenting? Absolutely. Would I read a podcast on parenting? Sure. Or listen to a podcast, read a blog post? Absolutely. But that is not content that I necessarily want in my feed all of the time. So that's just kind of an example. But really, just some content really is bad. Some content really is bad. Like, so just keep that in mind as you're adding these people on Facebook. And actually, before I go, because we're past the part where Crystal would use it for the podcast, so I don't even feel bad about this. Some of y'all be adding some sus people on Facebook. Some of y'all like sus, S-U-S. That is short for suspect. Suspect, right? So these people add me on or try to add me on Facebook, and I check out every single profile before I add somebody on my Facebook, which is why I've got over 115 friend requests, because it takes me a while. I do a few at a time, and I will click on these profiles, and I see that I've got like 50 people in common, and I see the names, right? And I'm like, okay, like these are people I respect, right? These are people I respect. But then I look at this profile and I'm like, this person is just a hop, skip, and a jump away from stealing your identity and putting it on the black web or the dark web or whatever, right? Like, why do you all add these people? They are sus. Why do you add them? And then I look at their content and I'm like, this content is horrible. This content is trash. I'm not even sure that's a real Facebook profile. They say their name is Adam, but there's a picture of a blonde woman with tons of cleavage showing. That doesn't look like Adam. And then you scroll through and see that they've changed their Facebook profile. And sometimes Adam is a white dude, but sometimes it's a black woman. And then today it's a blonde white woman, again, with tons of cleavage. Why are y'all adding these profiles? Stop it. Stop it. Every time I see these profiles and they have friend requested me, and I see that some of y'all are already friends with them, I want to message you and ask you what you're thinking. Stop it. Stop it. That's been building up for a while. So I would say be more careful who you add on these different platforms, because their content can clutter your feed. Their content can become trash in your hallway that you wish wasn't there. But otherwise, all right, so somebody has a question that is building, and when they finally figure it out, they will drop it. Okay, do that, because I will be keeping an eye out. And I just want to say thank you to everybody for joining me this morning. I hope you can see I have this like renewed sense of energy. I'm very excited again about the next couple weeks. So again, if you're interested in the Why Workshop, please don't hesitate to ask. I have a few people who've already told me that they're happy to encourage other people. If anybody has any questions about the experience, some of them are happy to answer. And then, yeah, let's just keep it going. If I'm going to be going live pretty much all week except Wednesday in the Defiant Business Facebook group. I put the link in the description wherever you're looking at that. So click the link, join the group so you don't miss anything for my other 10-minute live streams during the week. And I will see you later. No more trash in your hallway. No more trash in your feed.